Step right up, my fiendish fans of fright. Tonight's trick is no simple rabbit from a hat. Oh no, this one deals with a magician who thought his new deck of cards could cheat fate. They say life is a gamble, but our poor little trickster is about to learn the odds are stacked against him. So shuffle in and watch closely, creeps, because the next card you draw might be your last. We call this one Cutting the Deck.
Raymond Doyle once billed on glittering marquees as Marlowe the Magnificent, now sat in his cramped apartment, surrounded by moth-eaten tuxedos, broken wands, and yellowed posters of better days. But there was nothing magnificent about a man who couldn't book a show outside of bowling alleys and birthday parties. The years had not been kind. His cape was frayed, his illusions stale, and the audiences grew smaller with every show. The new generation of magicians had bigger acts, flashier props, and most damning of all, youth. Raymond was 46, hair thinning under his top hat, and his hands trembled when he tried to shuffle. He still had one name on his lips, Stanley Rourke, his old rival, known to audiences as the illustrious Levain. Always the star, always still in the spotlight, mocking me from behind the curtain. Stanley had eclipsed him decades ago, landing television spots, Vegas residencies, movie cameos. Marlowe had always sworn it was luck, not talent. That's when the package came. It arrived one rainy Thursday in a plain black box, no return address. Inside was an elegant deck of playing cards, emerald-backed, slick as velvet. A note rested on top, written in ornate script. For old time's sake, one last trick, old friend. Consider this my parting gift. Raymond sneered. Mocking bastard, he thought bitterly. Still, curiosity won. The cards slid into his hand like silk. They were heavier than normal, the edges almost warm. The face cards gleamed unnaturally bright. He nearly tossed them in the trash until he noticed the Joker cards. There were two of them, identical, but not the traditional gestures. Instead, they looked like emaciated clowns in chains, grinning wide. Something about them gave him a chill. Still, a magician never refused a good deck. The following night, Raymond couldn't resist testing them. He practiced in front of his cracked mirror. He shuffled them. The cards seemed to flow like water through his hands, almost shuffling themselves. Pick a card, any card, he muttered, drawing the King of Hearts. For a moment, the face winked. His skin prickled. Then with a flick of his wrist, the card vanished and reappeared behind his ear. Only he hadn't done the sleight of hand. The card had moved on its own. Raymond gasped. His hands trembled, but a grin spread across his face. These cards could do real magic. The King of Hearts smirked at him from the deck. Later that night at a show, he tried a simple trick forcing the King of Hearts into a volunteer's hand. When the woman revealed the cards, she gasped. The king winked at her. She dropped it like it burned. Marlowe laughed nervously, scooping it back. But when he checked the deck later, the King of Hearts had changed. The royal face was sharper, crueler, the crown jagged. The following morning, he was performing a birthday party at a roller skating rink. He tried again with the Queen of Hearts. His trick ended with her image blinking, her lips moving faintly as if whispered. The crowd gasped. Marlowe bowed, sweat dripping down his forehead. Then came better gigs. People called it a revival, but each show cost him a face card. The King of Spades now glared with a soldier's sneer. The Queen of Hearts bore blood-red lips, her eyes bulging and dark. The Jack of Diamonds sprouted jagged teeth in his grin. Each card warped a little more each time he drew on them, and each time the applause grew louder. His rise started small, a gig at a dingy lounge. But when Marlowe pulled cards that caught fire in his hands without burning, when the Queen of Diamonds fluttered into a glittering shower of jewels, the crowd roared like he hadn't heard in years. Word spread fast. Soon he was back in big theaters, basking in thunderous applause. The posters read, "Marlowe the Magnificent returns." His pockets swelled with cash. But every trick came with a price. Each time he used the deck, another face changed. The Queen of Diamonds lost her jeweled smile, her eyes turning hollow. The Jack of Spades sprouted a few extra eyes, his blade dripping crimson. The King of Diamonds' crown twisted into horns. And sometimes, at night, Raymond swore he heard them whispering in his sleep, whispering his name. Weeks later, after a show that left the audience gasping as cards flew through the air like living birds, Raymond sat alone in a motel room. He made himself a drink and spread the deck on the bed and studied them. He stared at the altered royals. Only a few face cards remained unchanged. The rest were monstrous now, grotesque parodies of royalty. They weren't just pictures anymore. He swore he could hear them.
More tricks, more power,
the Queen whispered, lips faintly moving on the paper.
Luck is yours. Use us well,
the Jack hissed. Raymond jolted back, whiskey spilling down his shirt. His heart raced. It was insane, impossible, he thought to himself. But out of the corner of his eye, he noticed the mirror ripple. Suddenly behind him loomed three colossal figures. The King, the Queen, and the Jack. Not on paper now, but towering gods. Right there in his room.
Raymond Doyle,
the Queen's voice purred, velvet laced with venom.
You draw from our power. You bask in our favor. But the game has rules,
boomed the King. His eyes were burning coals.
Use us wisely and fortune smiles, but summon us all and judgment falls.
Raymond stumbled back. What are you? The Jack grinned, blade gleaming.
We are the house, and the house always wins.
And just as suddenly as they had appeared, in a blink, they were gone. And yet every night after, Marlowe the Magnificent couldn't get enough. With the King of Spades tucked in his pocket, he won every coin toss, every bet, every game of chance. With the Queen of Hearts, he could charm audiences into tears. Women stared at him like he was 20 years younger. The Jack of Diamonds let him cut throats in illusions that really bled, only to reveal the victim unharmed seconds later. The cards weren't just props, they were gods of chance and favor. But each trick twisted their faces darker, and Marlowe was hooked. He should have stopped. He could have stopped, but the audience was too sweet. The fame too addictive. One night, drunk and giddy, Raymond spoke aloud to the deck. Stanley, you old snake, you thought this would ruin me, didn't you? You and that damn beautiful hair of yours. Thought I'd choke on your little gift. The face cards shimmered. Slowly, the jokers rose to the top of the deck. One grinned wider, and in its hollow eyes, Raymond swore he saw a familiar face. Stanley? He screamed and flung the card across the room. It landed perfectly on the mirror, Stanley's painted face glaring back, shackled in bells and chains. From the card's mouth came a faint whisper. Your turn, old friend. Marlowe pushed further. Bigger tricks. He booked a comeback performance in a packed downtown theater. The audience chanted his name. Cameras flashed. For the first time in years, he felt alive. He stepped onto the stage with the cursed deck in his hands. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you will witness the impossible. He drew the King, Queen, and Jack all at once. Unbeknownst to him, the final unchanged Jack included in that pool. Their eyes glowed faintly, the audience, like Marlowe, none the wiser. The stage filled with real fire, real lightning, real spectacle. The crowd roared. The stage beneath his feet dissolved. The world went black. Marlowe was yanked into their realm. Marlowe opened his eyes to find himself in a casino cathedral. The chandeliers were spades. The floor was a checkerboard. Towering thrones lined the hall, each occupied by a royal face come to life. The King of Spades leaned forward. The Queen of Hearts licked her crimson lips. The Jack of Diamonds cracked his jeweled knuckles. At the center, a massive table. Cards shuffled themselves, the air humming with power.
You played our game, magician,
the King thundered.
You took our gifts. Now comes your judgment.
Marlowe fell to his knees. Please, I only wanted the spotlight again. One more chance. From the shadows, laughter. A joker shuffled forward, chains dragging. Marlowe, the joker croaked. Took you long enough. Raymond froze. The voice, the eyes, the hair. Levain? It was Stanley, his rival, broken and twisted, his face painted in eternal mockery. The gods loomed over Marlowe. The King thundered.
Raymond Doyle, you have misused our gifts. The court finds you guilty.
The Queen's smile widened, teeth sharp as knives.
Sentence, eternity as the fool you pretended to be.
The royals laughed in unison, their voices shaking the hall. Cards whipped around Raymond, slicing his skin, his body twisted, bones cracking, paint spreading across his face.
Every magician thinks they're special. Every magician thinks they are the ones to beat the deck, but the house always wins.
Raymond screamed as his body warped, flesh twisting, bells sprouting from his hat. His face stretched into a painted leer, chains and a permanent forced grin. His soul was inked onto the paper. When the pain stopped, Marlowe looked up to see his new prison, a Joker card. His rival grinned at him from the other Joker. Together they laughed in eternal madness, trapped as the deck's cruel tricksters. Another Joker born, the deck now complete. Back in the real world, the audience erupted in applause. The stage was empty, Marlowe gone. On Marlowe's dressing table backstage, his deck of cards reappeared, splaying neatly in a ribbon spread. The Joker stared up from the top, 2 chain gestures, their eyes glinting with misery. The other face cards were pristine again, smiling sweetly. The theater door creaked open. A young assistant, curious, peeked in. "Mr. Doyle, you left your cards." The deck shimmers invitingly.
Looks like poor Marlowe found out that a deal with the devil isn't always written in red ink. It can be printed on fine cardstock. So remember, kiddies, when you gamble with fate, the House of Horrors always wins. Until next time, keep your eyes on the cards. And nighty-night.
Tales from the